Hello Trekkies, and welcome back with another character, Datafile. Well, today we're going to talk about one of the most interesting and most quieter person in Star Trek The Next Generation, Mr. Homn himself. Well, Mr. Homn is a really interesting character. He didn't really talk too much in his sixth appearance in Star Trek The Next Generation, in overall the series, but he was quite an interesting person. He was just one of a kind. Mr. Homn is the personal assistant for Lwaxana Troi. Basically, wherever Lwaxana goes, Mr. Homn follows, and Mr. Homn is basically making sure everything is right and everything is going smoothly and Lwaxana is entertained and well served, and basically he's a servant for Lwaxana. As it turned out, Mr. Homn is not the first person who served Lwaxana Troi. He is the replacement for Mr. Zilo, who been fired because he had too many colorful thoughts about Lwaxana Troi.
Zilo was strongly attracted to me. His thoughts became truly pornographic.
Mr. Homn was very loyal and he accompanied Lwaxana Troi many of his journeys, and obviously many times when we see Lwaxana coming to the Enterprise D, Mr. Homn usually followed her as well. He helped assisting with the almost wedding of Deanna Troi, he assisted the almost wedding of Lwaxana and Campio. He also assisted Lwaxana to find a husband, and he even prepared a picnic in Beta Z, and he invited himself as well because he started to eat the berries that Lwaxana actually told him to pick some up for them, so yeah. He was really patient with Lwaxana, and he occasionally drank a lot of untable alcohol that usually didn't really have any effect on him. Well, I think there's one occasion when he became a bit creepy after drinking too much. Well, that's a drunk Mr. Homn. Mr. Homn wasn't really a chatterbox, he didn't really speak, and actually a lot of people thought that he'd never be able to speak, he can't even speak, until the time when he actually did.
Thank you for the drinks.
Even though he lacked of verbal communication, he apparently was very good in sign language, and he appeared to be a good tailor as well.
No, perhaps, if we lower the bodice. What a constant joy you are.
Mr. Homn played by Carol Struycken, and Mr. Homn, the character itself, appeared 6th time in course of Star Trek The Next Generation. Carol Struycken, originally born in the Netherlands and grew up in Curaçao, when at the age of 15 he composed several Caribbean waltzes. He graduated from a film school in Amsterdam, and he also spent a year at the American Film Institute in Los Angeles. While Carol Struycken is really memorable as portraying Mr. Homn in Star Trek The Next Generation, he played in many other movies, including the Star Wars story Ewok, The Battle for Endor, where he played Tarak, but he also appeared as Lurch in the Addams Family movies and as the Archelian in the first Men in Black movie. He is a vegetarian and also an avid photographer, and he has an incredible height of 7 feet. There's one fascinating thing about Mr. Homn and his character, that his race and his homeworld wasn't really, actually had never been addressed in the course of the series. We never really knew what was Mr. Homn, what kind of race he was coming from. He was kind of grey, he was kind of tall, and he had like big floppy ears, but that's basically what we knew about them. We don't really know what's the planet that he was coming from, and we don't really know if there anyone like him at all in the Star Trek universe, which I think it would be nice to get a little background on that, even in novelization or any official or non-official, non-canonical form for regarding to his race, his character, because I think it was a really interesting addition to have a kind of a silent Bob next to Lwaxana Troi, who was just adorable, and I can't wait to actually talk about Lwaxana Troi, one of my favorite characters from all Star Trek, the Star Trek franchise. Mr. Homn's character was really familiar with the character May Hardu from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the Hyperions. At least in the case of May Hardu, we got to know there's a race called Hyperions, and they were famous of serving people, and May Hardu was actually assigned next to Zek, and he only talked to Zek. He actually took an oath not to talking to anyone but to Zek, so he didn't really talk as much, just as Mr. Homn, he didn't talk to anyone, just to Lwaxana, and obviously we didn't really get to hear this conversation between the two, just that one sentence that we hear in the episode Haven. Personally, I really love the character, and I think he brought many joyful moments in our lives when during this Next Generation. One of my favorite scenes was in The Cost of Living, when he's like fitting up Laxana's wedding dress, and Alexander comes in, and when the door opens, Alexander looks up and basically he raises his eyebrow. Well, that was a hilarious moment. He didn't even have to speak for that, because that was just Mr. Homn himself. So that was my little character data file on Mr. Homn from Star Trek The Next Generation. Please let me know your thoughts on this character, what was your favorite and least favorite moments with this character, and also if you would have loved to actually get more on his character, the character background, and actually what happened with him, what was the race itself that Mr. Homn was coming from. So please let me know your thoughts on Mr. Homn in the comment section below. I'm really looking forward to see your comments or observations on this character in the future days and anytime when you watch this video. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to receive all the geekiness every week. And until next time, live long and prosper.